be on the road now, doing shows now. White bitch not that cold now, I tell her no now. Mommy tell me slow down, I'm on a roll now.
And what you like to do?
Yeah. My name's Elijah. I'm 19 years old. Um, yeah, I guess what I like to do, really, like, what do you mean by that? Maybe elaborate a little bit.
Like, you like to hoop, you like to, what I'm saying, get money. What you like to do? Anything you like to do, just let the people know. Just a quick little
Yeah,
introduction so we get to know you.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. I definitely play a lot of basketball. I work out. Probably one of the two biggest hobbies I guess I have. Like, that's really what I do in my free time. And yeah, other than that, I run a business, and yeah, just on the path to entrepreneurship. I've been on that for a while, so that's really me in a nutshell.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna get into little questions. You know what I'm saying? I knew
For
Elijah.
sure.
I knew Elijah for a little minute now. Great dude, great dude. Definitely, you guys gotta go get all the workout material, all the stuff that you got going on. So, quick. Actually, we want to start off with this. So, like, what are your dreams and goals? Like, what do you really want to accomplish? So, it's kind of like I have two questions actually. So, your dreams and goals, and then after that, how do you want to impact the world? So, with your dreams and goals, how are you going to impact the world?
Um, yeah, when it comes to dreams and goals, like first thing that really comes to mind is just getting my time back,
Mm. My bad, my bad.
financial freedom, and that's always been really special for me because growing up it was really hard. You know, trying to find jobs, keeping jobs. I've probably been through like I think last year, or I had probably had like 6 different jobs,
Mm.
and all not lasting very long. So I've
Six,
never really been
six,
someone that
six.
yeah. So I've never really been someone who liked working. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
for me, that's one of the biggest things because it's not something I want to do for the rest of my life, and really like the way I saw that was I was always going in and out of different things, like finding out what I want to do for the rest of my life. Maybe that was selling shoes, which I did for a while,
Mm.
trying to make that into something big. 'Cause I know there's a lot of people who have. There was a phase where I went through trying to work renovation, and I thought that was going to be my thing, but slowly after doing that for about 8 months, really found out it wasn't.
Mm.
So yeah, that's probably one of my biggest things when it comes to long term what I want to do. When it comes to dreams, though, really, man, like after I sort of reached that point, at the end of the day, it's not about the money for me, but it's more really about finding that purpose, right? Because I feel like a lot of people, they say they're passionate about one thing or another, and then they get into it and they're like, oh crap, I got to do this for the rest of my life.
Mm.
So it kind of you kind of lose that passionateness, you lose that love for what you thought like you wanted to do forever. So for me, man, like I just want to be able to do lots of things and use money for the right ways. One of those things is really I want to build a school.
Mm.
So you see LeBron, you see Elon Musk, they've done it. So why can't I? And that was really one of my biggest dreams, mainly because similar to the whole job thing, like with school, I was never really someone who felt like I fit into that atmosphere. You know what I mean? I was always growing up. I was like the odd kid out, the new kid at the school. Never really had friends growing up. Going into middle school and elementary school and even high school, didn't really have too much of a big crowd. But yeah, that was really how I felt going through it. And I know I'm not the only one. You know what I mean? So being able to create an atmosphere, something like that, in the future for kids, growing up like me that went through the same sort of stuff is really one way I definitely choose to create purpose, and probably one of the biggest that I keep in the back of my head when I'm motivating myself or just trying to stay disciplined.
Okay. So that's how you kind of want to. That's kind of your dream is to make source of income, and then after open up a couple schools for students. And like
Yeah.
what type of like areas, different countries, or like here in Canada, or
Yeah, I mean, I haven't put like too much thought into that, to be honest. But there is this one guy I know out in Uganda, and he runs like an orphanage,
mm,
and he's pretty much dedicated his whole life to you know moving to Uganda and like helping these kids out and like getting them food and trying to get people to donate money. Like you want, you can throw the link into the description as well. Great guy. I'll definitely ask you to put his Instagram in there. Great guy. Check out his Instagram. But yeah, he's done a lot for those kids. So definitely, like, first place that comes to mind. I want to go out there to Uganda to really, meet him, help him out. I've met the kids over like a WhatsApp call and stuff like that. So I've spoken to him. I know he's legit. And yeah, definitely something I keep in mind when it comes to location. But at the end of the day, I don't really want to put like a limit on where I would want to do it or how like big I want it to be. But definitely, like, when it comes to location, that's the first place that comes to mind.
Nah, that's hella dope, though. That's hella dope. You want to open a school, help the youth out. You know what I'm saying? Put some proper teachers in there because, hey, I ain't gonna lie, some of these teachers can't teach. You know what I'm saying? They can't teach. And I remember being back in grade 9, back in Streetsville. I remember the teacher, he wouldn't teach us. He would put on a video explaining how to do the work. And then after he put on that video, he just, like, gave us work to do. And the whole time,
Yeah.
and the whole time when he playing the video, like, we like this, watching a whole video in class, and then it was just like, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? That guy, the first year in that math class in grade 10, that was the first time in all his 10 years of teaching where everyone finally passed his class. That was the first time ever.
Crazy. Yeah, I remember I had math was a big problem for me. I barely passed in grade 9 with a 50 in academic, and then after it's so funny because I did grade 10 academic, and I failed miserably. I got like a 20, didn't even show up to the exam. But then after I went to applied, bro, I had like a 90. I had the best mark in the class. I had like a 98, bro. But I did do the course the last semester, but just academic, obviously. So it was obviously way easier doing it in applied. But math was never really my thing. Even in grade 11, I barely passed like applied.
I just hated math. I don't know what it was about math, but math, you know what I'm saying? It's important now. It's important now with numbers and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now all this, to this day, I still haven't used y times mxb. I don't even know what it is. I haven't used that to this day, and I'm still alive, but still I have used that. But give us a quick rundown, like, about your, growing up in your early childhood. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta keep it too long. You know what I'm saying? Because I know some stuff, because we talk off cam and stuff like that. And so give us a brief rundown of your story.
Yeah, I guess I'll dive like a little deep into it. I won't go for too long, but really where it starts for me is at a young age, because I feel like a lot of people go through a lot of struggle, and they mostly go through that struggle once they get into adulthood or through high school, stuff like that. But for me, it was really growing up as a young child, and growing up, I had a mom and dad, which is amazing. I was always grateful for that. As soon as my little sister came along, they got divorced, and what really started to happen after that was sort of things started to crumble a little bit, and I didn't really understand what was going on. I was very young, I definitely remember it, but I was still very young. And what really happened after they got divorced was I kind of lost all that emotional support from having a mom and a dad, so it was really hard for me. And the reason why that happened was I used to always stay with my dad. My dad was like the sort of like the guy I looked up to very young. And after they got divorced, my dad had to move out. I ended up living with my grandparents for about 2 to 3 years. And, just my grandparents didn't speak English. They only spoke Portuguese. I could barely communicate with them. And they never really let me outside or anything like that. So really just, being in this one little apartment and having my own room, computer, things like that. I was always online, doing my thing. But I didn't really have that emotional support from my parents because, I would be at my grandparents for the whole week. And, my dad would pick me up, bring me to school. And then my mom would pick me up from school, bring me to my grandparents, and then go work the night shift. So I would only really get to see my dad and my mom during the weekends. And it wasn't even all the time because, sometimes my dad had to work, things like that. So it wasn't always guaranteed when I was going to see them.
Oh, so so you actually weren't even living with them. You were just with your grandparents the whole time.
Yeah, so my grandparents were a big part of my they pretty much raised me from as much as I can remember. I really lived with them for a long time. After my mom was, actually was able to afford a house, this house I live in right now. I moved into Mississauga when I was about grade 2, and that's when I really started living with my mom, and my mom became that bigger part of my life. And, going through elementary school and middle school, dealt with a lot of bullying, being the new kid, obviously. I already kind of dealt with that, and when I used to live in Toronto, actually, because I've never allowed outside, right? So I would just go to school, do my stuff, screw around with a couple kids, and then go back home to my grandparents. So coming to Mississauga and actually having so much more freedom now. I definitely didn't use it, but I would just stay home, play my PS4, PS3, whatever it was, and yeah, going to school. Definitely dealt with bullying a lot. It was definitely a big part of.
How are you able to, how did you deal with bullying, and how did you kind of more so go break out of that cycle, or kind of heal from that past experience? And that's kind of my next question as well, going to it, is how did you kind of heal from all the traumas and the single, growing up in a single parent household, and maybe not even growing up in a single parent household, just growing up with your grandparents and then seeing your mom and dad on the weekend. How did you eventually cope with all these things? But start off with the bullying first.
Yeah, for sure. So after all the bullying and stuff, it was always a big part of my life until high school. My dad ended up leaving the country. He moved to Mexico. I won't go too deep into that, but he pretty much got deported. And really what happened with me was that really to kind of explain how I got over it, I kind of have to explain a little bit deeper. But because of that, me and my mom really started to have issues, she likes to say because we're both Geminis, but I'm not really into that stuff.
Oh man, the zodiac signs. Your mom sitting with the zodiac sign.
Yeah, bro. But yeah, we had a lot of problems. I'll even open up a lot about it, to a lot of people as well. And it's things from, having cops come into our house because of us having arguments. Her dealing with her own problems, with me not being able to communicate my problems to her, and she didn't really know what was going on with my life at school and my friends and stuff like that. And after sort of dealing with all that, I have a big family. My mom has 8 brothers and sisters combined. So they weren't really. My mom's not very close. My mom's not very close to the family. I don't really see the family a lot, but I did have one uncle that was really close to me. And when he actually ended up moving in, and the reason for that was because my mom was really struggling, and he was struggling as well. He lives at a trailer park actually, and great guy. But he basically had a gambling addiction, lost all his money, and ended up living in his car over the winter. So once my mom kind of found out about that, he's like, "Yo, let me help you, help me," right? So pretty much my uncle moved in, and he was a big part of kind of he was that fatherly figure for me that I needed, because not having that fatherly figure was the reason why I was having those problems with my mom, and I wasn't able to communicate that with her because I just wasn't comfortable with it. I was more comfortable, with my dad and stuff like that, and him leaving and not being able to talk to him anymore was a huge deficit, I guess you could say, to not even just my mental health or my self-confidence, self-image, stuff like that. So having my uncle there and being able to build that relationship with him was really a big key to me just becoming that bigger person in the household. Because at the end of the day, with my dad not being around and growing up with my little sister and mom in the house, I was pretty much the man of the house from the start, having to watch my little sister while my mom would go to work, having to get a job at a very early age to help pay those bills. And yeah, what he really taught me was just that your mom may be stubborn sometimes, you're stubborn as well, but it's you've tried so long to kind of convince her your points and all these things. When you guys argue, it's why not just start being the bigger person? And for me, it was really hard to do that because of how much I'd been put down my whole life and been at the bottom. So trying to be the trying to build that confidence and that self-image, and even dealing with anger problems and stuff, to be that bigger person was really hard for me. But he really did show me how much that would affect my life and make me really feel better about myself, and to grow that relationship with my mom, because I didn't really have it, right? We didn't have that, I would never have conversations with her or anything like that. It was kind of walk in the door, hey, how you doing, this and that, love you, good night, stuff like that, right? We didn't really have that mother to son connection. So my uncle was definitely a big part of that. And get into high school, what really helped me get over all the bullying and stuff like that was really just working out. In grade 9, I was very skinny, and I wanted to start playing rugby. I used to play soccer as a kid. My dad got me into soccer, and I was pretty trash at soccer, to be honest with you. And it wasn't helping my self-image, you know what I mean, or my self-confidence, because my dad would always be like, my dad almost became a professional soccer player, so him being that guy in the back of my head, like, oh, you're trash, you suck, this and that, it was really hard for me. So I was like, you know what, screw this sport. So I decided I want to start playing rugby when I went to high school. First year I played, I was trash, absolutely terrible. I was literally like, even thinking back to myself, I used to think like, oh, I'm like decent, or like I'm maybe like average, but no, I was actually trash. But the main reason for that was I was just scared, scared to get hit, scared to try to hit other people, scared to get the ball. Second I get the ball, I'm like friggin' throwing it away. And really, what me and a close friend of mine, you might know him from high school, Nico. He's big on working out as well. We really started that journey together, and we both played rugby at the time as well. And really, what that did was, even a month in, started to see that progression. Start to see, little definition in my biceps, my chest, or my legs, even whatever it was. And what that really did was it made me feel like someone for once. It made me feel like I had something to show. And that was really important for me because, in the back of my head, I wasn't dealing with bullying anymore, going to high school and sort of just like, having that one real friend for once. I sort of just disconnected myself from everyone and just had that one friend, right? And that one friend and like my online friends, video games, whatever it was. So being able to do that really it made me feel like I had a place, you know what I mean? It made me feel like I had a purpose. And it was because, being on the rugby team and, actually, knowing how to play the game and knowing the knowledge, but not having the body to do so was a big deal. I felt like I was a key, player on that team. And, after my second and third year, I mean, not to be cocky or anything, but I would say I definitely became one of the best players on the team. And I was a big impact, and rugby was a big part of my life as well. Not even just playing for school, but I ended up getting invitations to play outside for school. Me dealing with money problems at home, the coaches would always pay for me because, I was a big part of the team, and they really wanted me there, and I wanted to be there, right? So that was definitely a big part of that. And, having rugby and working out and just, like, having that discipline every day, every day it would be, wake up before school so I could work out. I would walk to River Grove, like a 20-minute walk from my house, and that would be at like 5 a.m. so I could get an hour workout in, go right to school after that, and then after school, if I had work, I'd do that. If I didn't have work, I most likely had practice, and then by the time I get home, it would be like 9 o'clock. So those days I had work, I would have to work out before school, and those days where I didn't have work, I would work out right after practice. So getting, my life was, I was super disciplined, and yeah, so I really think just like finding something that like you can really discipline yourself, or something where you can feel like you're progressing in. And when I say progressing, I don't mean like in a video game, but actually progressing yourself, like moving your life forward in any sort of way, whether that's reading books, whether that's moving your mental forward or your physicality forward. I feel like that's really what helped me get out of that. And like even like having friends in high school, like making those friends and them opening up to me about their problems and depression and stuff like that. I feel like because I went through that at a young age, and because I overcame that, going into high school, I feel like it was really crucial for me. Like, and it almost like I had that responsibility to be like, yo, you got to get off your ass. Let's go work out together. Or like, yo, let's do something together. Let's move your life forward. And that's really how I overcame that. If that answers your question.
Okay. So I want to go back a little bit, back into what you said from the beginning with your parents. So it seems, you know what I mean, I don't know what it is, like, it is true, even with the 2 podcasts ago that I did, all the men kind of have the same thing, is where we can express our problems to men a little bit easier than women. And
yep.
I think it's because we kind of understand what each other's going through, because we're guys, right? It's just like how girls talk to girls and guys talk to guys. And especially saying that you had your uncle there, that father figure that you were very comfortable with to help you, break those barriers, be a bigger person, even build a relationship with their mom, is because, even me, after finally, after 20 years of, not talking to my father, not being close to him like that, and finally, getting closer to him for like this first year, and I've told him and I've expressed more things to him than I've expressed to my mom in the whole 20 years I've been here, and it was kind of interesting that most men really kind of go through that same thing, is where they see a guy I can just talk to guys so easily about what I'm going through, my problems, because they understand it, they get me, and they're actually willing to help me, and they know how to help me. I think that's a big aspect, and that's good that you had your uncle there's a father figure. You know what I mean? And also, shout out to your dad. He could have been Lionel Messi, goddamn. But anyways, you know what I mean? And also, with the bullying in school, you kind of more so you kind of like had to just go through that and then eventually get over it. Then after, it kind of seems when you got to grade 9 and you found that one close friend, it's like, you know what I mean, you kind of hit the gym, you hit the gym, you started getting more disciplined, had a set schedule, and that's very important. You did it from a very young age as well, and early starting too, so you kind of had a heads up on everyone else. So
Yep.
now in this time, now that you even have more discipline and stuff like that, that's actually crazy, because even me now, I'm finding stuff to get myself disciplined, and it feels way better to be on a schedule, to be, you know what I mean, to be self-improving, and that's the main part. And since you started that way back then, it's like now you're going to be more ahead and more advanced, and you have a better mindset. So getting into the part with your business, so for anyone who wants to start a business out there, or even you still working on your business or running it, and working up to that $1 million business, etc., etc. So how would someone start a business, and how did you start your business? Like, how did you get into that?
Yeah, and like for me, like the end of the day, like connections will always bring contracts. That's something I saw on Instagram recently, and it definitely resonated with me, because going through high school, I never liked jobs. Like I said, hated jobs. So I started selling shoes in grade 9, and I had passionate about shoes and stuff like that. I could never have them because I didn't have the money, and I was like, okay, how can I get these Jordans? How can I get this, Bape hoodie or whatever it was? And I was like, it was like a really big part of my life, because I didn't really have, I guess you could say, like, purpose. It was almost like, oh, I want the cool shoes. I see the kids in my grade with the cool Jordans or the cool, Bape sweaters, this and that. I was like, how do I get that? So that's when I really started that entrepreneur journey, and made a couple connections. Obviously, that one story I told you. I actually started out by so when I started selling shoes, a couple months in, someone had sold me a fake pair of shoes, and I bought the OVO 12s for like $600, and it was it wasn't good, man. It wasn't good. So yeah, I ended up like, I built a lot of capital from reselling fake shoes, and that's like just being transparent right now.
Finesse.
But I definitely don't, I definitely look back and I'm like, I wish I did it the proper way. But at the end of the day, yeah, that's how I really built up that capital to start affording to, actually invest in those, like, those shoe plugs. Like, oh, if you buy like 5 of this shoe, I'm gonna give it to you for less. This stuff like that, right? So I started doing that, and really, like, what that sprouted into was like, very money motivated. And I started selling drugs, stuff like that. I got into that scene, was like, doing everything under the sun, smoking, drinking, vaping, all that sort of stuff. And really, like, what I started to realize is I couldn't do it long term, right? So I thought to myself, I was like, all right, let me go back to selling shoes. So I started doing that. I definitely took all the bad habits with me after getting out of that scene, but started selling shoes, and I took it to a next level, because I already had saved up a lot of money from doing that over high school. I mean, I won't say a number, but it was a lot of money. So I saved up a lot of money, and really, what that allowed me to do was to build a network. And really, when you want to start a business, you have to have a network, any sort of network. I don't care if you're selling drugs, shoes, or if you're selling rope. I don't care. You have to have a network. You have to have a network of people. Your network could be, your followers on Instagram. It could be whoever you have on Snapchat. It could be, your friends at school. You have to have that network. And really, like, when I started to realize that that's what I needed, and I started to grow my network outside of just, friends at school or people on Instagram, you got to go network to people, friggin' random people at the gym. Doesn't matter who it is. You got to get out of that shell and, like, start doing that. And from being able to do that, I actually got connected to a very successful couple. And that couple really, like, what they really did, like, guy named Jordan, same name as you, but yeah, great guy. He's been a great part of my life. Definitely one of those fatherly figures, because I want to track back. I don't want to track back too much, but just a little bit. even though I went through all those stuff as a kid, like I overcame it, yes, but it's still in the back of my mind. You know what I mean? It's still in the back of my mind, and I wouldn't say it affected me very much, but it was still there. And really, what Jordan did for me was like, when I first met him, what was really crazy was I never knew who he was. Obviously, I never knew what he was doing or anything like that. He was just like, "Hey man, like let me get these shoes. Yo, could you help me sell these pairs of shoes? I'll pay you," stuff like that. And he actually invited me out to a dinner, and I linked up with him. We spoke, and after I heard his story, like what I really thought to myself was like, okay, this guy knows that I used to be a drug dealer. This guy knows I have all these bad habits. This guy knows who I am. He knows my story because I shared it with him, obviously. But he's, as a successful person or on the way to success, he really still took the time to sit down with me and give me a chance because he saw something in me. And it was like, I'm not special. I know, him growing up, he wasn't special. So it's like him being able to give back to his community and people who grew up just like him, and actually seeing something in me, not just thinking like, oh, I'm not going to waste time on this stupid kid. You know what I mean? So that would really affect me a lot, and really what I did from there was I chased him, and I knew he was a mentor to lots of people, and that's what I really saw in him because I had a lot of kind of like fatherly figures / mentors in my life, whether if it was my uncle, if it was my coach, it was my drug dealer, like whoever it was. I looked up to those people, right? And this was someone who was actually going somewhere where I wanted to be long term. I didn't want to be selling shoes forever. I didn't want to be selling drugs forever, or like playing rugby forever. I wanted to be I know where I wanted to be in life. I know the lifestyle I wanted, but I just didn't know how to get there. And that's why I was always experimenting through different things. And really after chasing him and his girlfriend, now fiance, what I really saw in them was obviously the genuineness, not prejudging me. What I really saw was a successful relationship, which was something I really wanted to pursue and apply to my own lifestyle, and those sort of things. So at the end of the day, to answer your question, with all that information provided, I would say like if you want to start a business, number one, be open-minded. Number two, find someone you can trust, whether if it's a mentor or if it's a friend or if it's someone you look up to. You gotta, this is the thing. What I've always been told: if you want to go somewhere fast in life, do it on your own. But if you want to go somewhere far, you got to do it with someone. You can't go far just by yourself. You can't. Like people think that like people have such an ego, and I used to too. And this is why I can really relate to it myself and how I overcame that ego as well. But like people are always so like when it comes to money and stuff, it's like, oh, I'm gonna do it on my own. I'm gonna be known as the guy who did it on my own, didn't need no help from anyone. Like, no, bro, that's not how it works. And like at the end of the day, like, are you gonna be happy at the top by yourself? So yeah, those are definitely the three biggest things when I say if you want to start a business, just be open-minded, build those connections, and yeah. But another thing as well is I would say like have good habits, definitely. Good habits, because a lot of people, like what I noticed too is like with my business, it's like to actually grow a business, you have to move yourself forward as well. You can't just like, you have to move your personal life forward for your business to move forward, and I feel like that's a lot of things that people get like confused and messed up with.
But that's tough. So it's a little bit different because you building that network. Plus you had a little money to start it up. So what I mean. So that's very, very, very important. So what is your business and what is it based on?
Yeah. So right now I actually run a business and mentorship program, and the way that kind of works is so the business vehicle is one thing. Anyone can go build this business. They start off on their own, but really the key part of it is the mentorship that partners with those companies. And pretty much the business vehicle itself is pretty much the easiest way to explain it, like plain English. Like imagine one company, and under it is like a bunch of other companies. So for example, this is one of them. They sell energy drinks. Okay. This company. So it's basically like one company that has like a bunch of other companies under it that provide those products, and the company on top buys all the other companies and now has access to their products. So pretty much like for me, I could have gone and started that business on my own without meeting Jordan or anything like that.
Mm.
But what was key was that he had the game plan. He had the blueprint. You know, he had like the bird's eye view on someone new starting out, and it was like, you know, I can go and bump my head a couple times on a tree branch, or you know, get hit by a car walking down the road. But he's gonna tell me like, yo, there's this coming up. This is what you got to do, and this is how you do it. And you know, he's gonna help. He basically has that. He has that bird's eye view, and he knows what's coming up. He knows what's gonna happen.
Mm.
So he's able to give me that coaching to really show that. But really, the deepest thing as well is like moving my life forward, to move my business forward, was mentorship. Because you can be coached on business and in life, but mentorship is totally different. It's totally different. You really have to really get into mentorship with someone. Like, you know, your mentor could be like your best buddy. That, like, you know, maybe you're going through depression or working out or whatever it is, and it's like that person, if they've, you know, done it and have testimonies, they have that roadmap for you, and they can tell you like, look, bro, I know you're working out right now. You're gonna hit a plateau, and when I hit my plateau, it was really hard for me. I dealt with a lot of like, you know, oh, maybe it's, you know, I'm not seeing the progression. It's not motivating. This is what you have to do to get through it. Do this, 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 and you can go do it, and you'll be fine. And you know what's gonna happen, and you're prepared for it. Or you could just not listen and bump your head a couple times. You know what I mean? But that's really the benefit of having a mentor, and especially when it comes to business, you know, you don't want to be losing money and stuff like that. So that's why it's definitely important, and that's why it was so key for me to really earn that mentorship from Jordan and his girlfriend and fiance right now.
So you have to work very hard to get that mentorship. Nah, I really, those type of businesses, they actually do very well, and it's actually a known thing, because I see all over the place. Like, literally, somebody has a mentor, and literally, it turns into like, eventually it turns into like a class, because it'll be like, there'll be like 10 people in there, and it'll be all residing under you, and it's really very, very serious, because there's a lot of like, the funny thing is, that person will be running the mentorship business, and then after that, those could be all celebrities in there getting that mentorship, and they need that, because they need the help to keep their life on track and keep that stuff up. But nah, that's a very serious business. I know a guy personally, one of a favorite YouTuber I like to watch as well, and he has a mentor, but he's bigger than his mentor, but he still goes to him. It's crazy. It's so crazy. You know what I mean? And also, so going into this as well. So how long, like, for people wondering out there, like, how long will it take to be successful in life, or is there a time on success at all?
I feel like everyone runs their own race, and at the end of the day, you know, whatever success is to you, whatever that goal is, or that dream that you turn into a goal, when you get to that goal, no one's gonna ask you how long it took. You know, if you did it, you did it. It's not gonna be like you became successful in 20 years. It's like you became successful. You know what I mean? For me personally, I've set myself a goal of 2 to 5 years, and that's really where I'm at right now with everything I have, you know, accessible to me, and everything I've been blessed and grateful to have. But it really just depends, man. It really just depends. I feel like everyone runs their own race. Everyone goes through their own things at different times, so it really depends.
So it could be over, because, you know, it could be overnight. It could be one of those overnight successes, or it could be one of those successes in 5-6 years. Okay. So it could be any time, but as long as you made it, that's the thing. Is okay. So people. So at the end of the day, the message right there that I kind of got is like, you know, people want to see the results. You know what I mean? Did you get the results? Okay. So now we're going a little bit off topic here, but so since I know you're in a relationship, you know, cuff man, you know what I mean, lockdown man. So how, for younger guys out there, you know, wondering, because, you know, as you said, you know, Jordan, he was a successful man. He still is going up, and he had a successful relationship as well, and it kind of seems like that was an asset and benefit to him. So the question is, how do you, like, have a successful relationship? Not as in it's perfect, ideally perfect, like rainbows and sunshines, but how do you, you know what I mean, go through the motions and make sure, you know what I mean, your partner's not a liability but an asset in that sense. Not saying that they got to be like, oh, helping you doing all the paperwork for your business and all that stuff, but like, as in how they become, how they become, like, you know what I mean, a part of your purpose. Like how to choose a purpose partner instead of just partner just to watch Netflix and eat some ice cream with.
Yeah, yeah, and I've definitely experienced both.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, you
I've been
have.
in two. I've been in two big relationships in my life.
Oh, okay.
And in grade 9, I was like, after I, kind of got big and stuff like that, I felt more comfortable reaching out to girls. And at the end of the day, like, think about what goes in the back of your head. Like, it's like everyone wants a hot girlfriend. Everyone wants a girl that looks good, has a nice body, and it's like, what I've really been taught is to filter what you want in a girl through your goals or through your values. And for me in grade 9, all I was thinking about was like, I want a girl with a nice body and like a nice face. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm freaking sliding in this girl's DMs, and that's how I ended up dating her. But moving on from that, really like getting into my relationship I'm in now. I've been dating this girl for 3 years, and even before like getting into the relationship, it was the same sort of idea. Like it wasn't like I had that knowledge before, but really what I think, and for people out there that are like so like hooked up on like trying to like find a girl, and like it's like that's like their like number one goal in life right now is just to find a girl, because they feel like that's gonna move them forward. Is I so the way I'm gonna word this. Definitely you wanna filter like the way I'm in like a vetting mindset, if that makes sense. It's like let's say if I wasn't in a relationship right now, let's just say for theoretical purpose, if I'm talking, let's say I meet a girl, say I meet a girl at the gym, and I'm thinking like, okay, I meet this girl at the gym. First thing that goes through my mind is, she works out. She's doing something for herself. She's moving her life forward by working out. She's doing it for her self-image, her confidence. That's the first thing that goes through my head. Second thing, maybe I sit down and talk to her. I want to know what her values are. I want to know where she wants to go in life. Does she want to go the same way that I'm going? Because if she doesn't, I'm going to be up here and she's going to be down here. And it's not going to work. Because either she's going to bring me down or I'm going to have to pull her up with me. So at the end of the day, there's no point on wasting that time trying to pulling up someone with you, because you can't change someone's mindset. So it's like, for me, that's why I've always kind of found now, it's like there's no point on really chasing girls. And I've had a lot of friends who are like, oh, I'm talking to this girl right now, this and that. Like, oh, like, what should I say to her? This and it's like people are so hooked up on it, and it's like I don't feel like people should be chasing, but like at the end of the day, if you do run into someone, that's definitely the first thing I would say is like look at the values, look where they're going in life, look at their past as well. Look at I'm not going to say judge someone by their past, but look at what they've been through, where they are now, how much they've progressed, how much are they willing to progress, what are they doing right now to progress themselves forward in life, and then ask yourself that, reflect on yourself, be like, am I going the same way she is? Are we going two opposite directions? Do we have the same values? Let's say if I meet some girl at the gym, I'm working out, she's working out. That's one value right there. And when I say values, I don't like, let's say you both like video games. That's a plus. That's a plus. It shouldn't be like a value. You know what I mean?
Also, you're talking about value as in someone who's not complacent, who wants to just, I want to just stay home and do this. No, I want to go out and do things and be somebody, and make myself, improve.
Yeah, so like for me, like someone, so let's say like a value of mine, for example, like I want to build a school one day, and let's say my girlfriend right now, she's working on becoming a teacher, and she wants to make a huge impact in that community and change schools for the better. That's two values right there that are correlating. They stick together. We're both trying to make an impact on a higher level than usual, something that people don't normally do. Stepping out of your comfort zone and having that purpose. That's what's going to bring successful marriage and successful relationship at the end of the day. You got to look at the values, make sure they align. And when you think about values, if we both like, me and my girlfriend both like video games, that's a plus. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I'm going to get together with her because we both like video games. It's just something cool. It's a plus. You know what I mean?
On the side playing 2K, it's like, come on, baby, how'd you learn how to do that? You know what I'm saying? See what I mean? It's funny as hell. So how do you feel about marriage? Because obviously I think you're a marriage-minded man, as in like you chose a good woman, for that aspect. So how do you feel about marriage and what you see today? How does that like correlate? Like, are you a little bit afraid? Because what I'm saying, for me personally, I'm like, hey man, hey, I see some horror stories, and then in real life I hear some good stories, but then in real life I see, what I mean, men in their marriages 2 3 years, no sex, no nothing, no drive, no, what I mean, women crazy, and and one guy I knew, he was 50 years old, and he said, hey, I can't even leave her because if I leave her, because I'm not happy. They went to therapy. They did everything they could. And he's like, I can't even leave her because I'm gonna lose all my assets. And when I lose my assets, I'm gonna lose my house. And he's like, I don't even know where I'm gonna go. So it's like, how do you look at marriage from looking at on social media and seeing it on media, but also looking in real life and knowing like people personally or just what you see? So like, what's your view on marriage in total?
That's a great question. And with what you just said right there with that example, I think like obviously you can't go back into the past, but that's why like your 20s are very crucial, and that's why I feel like a lot of people should stick to looking at a woman and a girl's values, and that's how you could really prevent that. Because at the end of the day, you get married with some girl that you just slid in her DMs and like you guys have nothing in common, you're doing nothing together. It's like eventually it's gonna happen. Eventually something's not gonna work out, and it's like you guys have a house together, and it's like maybe she's the main breadwinner in the family or in the relationship, and it's like if I break up with her and if I leave her, I'm gonna have nothing. I'm stuck with nothing. So that's why I feel like the values part is so important. And view on marriage. When you say view on marriage, like, what do you mean by that specifically?
So as you know, 50% of marriages end in divorce.
Okay, yeah.
It's a statistic out there. Definitely gonna post it. So, and just in general, as in, it's for me personally. This is what I think about, and what I've researched and heard from other men too. Is like it's like as soon as I go on my knees and give you the ring, I give you the leverage over me. Because basically, let's go back in 1930s and a little bit earlier. So marriage, how it used to be was, you get married and it could end like a relationship. Like it was, you sign papers and there's no like craziness. You probably pay for the lawyer or whatever, but there's no crazy, oh, you got to give her half your money or she got to give you half and the baby separated. There was no child support. It was just like, hey, y'all get separated. You know what I mean? You probably can't get married again because they took that very seriously. So the court's gonna be like, hey, we don't want you back here. And then it'll be like, well, back in those times it was a little bit different because more men had power over the women, and then after more men made money than more women, so it was like after they got divorced, it was like the woman was kind of just widowed and left with nothing, right? And it's like the guy would just be like, well, I'm trying to see my son, and then she would be like, no, you can't see your son. He would just walk in the house. Yes, I can. And then it's like, call the court, and the court's gonna be like, basically you're gonna tell that girl or even that guy or whatever the situation was, like really just get your money up. That's how it would be, like get your money up. Like it would just be like that. But now it's a little bit different. So it's more so women more winning the court, but it depends on the situation. There is those rare situations. So it's like for more men out there, we look at marriage as we're giving up power, not as in we had power, but like we're lifting you up on this pedestal. Our girl,
You're submitting.
yeah, it's kind of like that. We're putting her, submitting. We're basically putting her above us, and then it's like if we mess up, we do something wrong. For example, I have a successful business. I'm a breadwinner out here, and then let's say I don't do anything wrong. Let's say I was a good husband, and then after one day she's like, nah, I'm not feeling this anymore. Then just rips half my stuff, and it's like all that time spent together, all the assets gone, and it's like and now I'm paying alimony and child support. Like it's what I mean. It's crazy thing that happens out here. So it's like that's what I mean. What is your view on it? Like, not saying are you afraid that's gonna happen to you particularly, but like as you see it, like I don't know if you heard of PJ Washington in this situation. Like probably I'll show you that to you after, but it's like how do you what I mean, feel about that in a sense? Because me personally, it's not I'm afraid to get married. It's like the government kind of like, it seems like they put one person in power, and that's the problem I have, because it should be like kind of like an equal thing, like maybe not as it was in the past, but like what I mean, something a little bit more discreet. Because like let's say you have an RSP plan. Let's say you have $200,000 in there, like. If you take $1 out and spend it on a coffee and give it to your girlfriend, she can now give it to your wife. Now she can, as soon as she divorces you, she gets half of that money that you saved, that you worked for hours and years, you built that up, and it's like all gone. Not saying that it's not bad to give it to her because she has her kids and stuff, but it's like just because she didn't feel like it, or even this is the worst case scenario, but you could walk in the house and she could be, giving another man oral, and she could say, I want a divorce and continue, and then she'll take half of your stuff. Like that's what really happened to a lot of guys. Like there's a lot of stories out there, and what I know from people. So like, what your view is on all of that? Not just the bad, but there's also good parts of it too. But like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
for sure. Yeah. I think the first way to kind of look at like my view on it is like going back to like preventing that. So again, the values, and then of course, just like I feel like the biggest part, like even if you put values aside for a second, look at your vision. I'll go to Jordan for a second. So my mentor Jordan, his wife or his fiance Allison, they both have a vision.
Wait, did he propose in front of like a big crowd? Because I seen it on Instagram.
Yeah, so we had a business conference, and we were like, yo, take a picture, the whole team and stuff. We got ready for the picture, and then the man just went down on his knees, and we were like, yo, what? It was crazy. I did not expect it, bro, because me and Jordan are very close, and like I remember him telling me, he's like, yo, it's gonna happen this year, and then like 2 months later he did it, and I was like, what? It was crazy, bro. It was insane. But yeah, I think it comes with vision as well, because it's like, especially with guys too, like a lot of us think with our dicks. We think with the wrong head sometimes, and it can really like get in the way. You know what I mean? And that was how really my dad and my mom's marriage didn't work out. My dad, cheated on my mom multiple times. They had great marriage before that. They had the money. They had, my mom had money, bro. Like my dad was definitely the main breadwinner, but they were good. They were good. They had me. They were happy. And then, my dad started to think with the wrong head. And that's where really I kind of learned that from him, like to not do that, not to do it, but like
self-control, yeah.
Yeah, so I saw like what my dad did to my mom, and I was like, I never want to do that to my girl, or like do that at all to anyone. And it just comes back to vision as well, because Jordan and Allison, who I really look up to in their relationship, they have a vision in front of them. They're like, yo, we gotta get to. We're gonna put our head down and have unbroken focus and focus on our goals together. You're not just my girlfriend, but you're my partner in life. We're working together to reach one goal together. So it's like when you have that in front of you and you have that tunnel vision, that unbroken focus, and then you reach that goal, not only does that journey and that path, not only does that build character, it builds, obviously it's going to build connection, but it's going to build real connection. It's not like, you build a connection over a video game that you played together, or a movie you watched, or, the 10 movies you watched because you watched everything on Netflix together. You know what I mean? So I think that's a big part of it as well, because like when you're focused on something, you don't have time to go talk to another guy or another girl, or like, worry about money or anything like that, because at the end of the day, you're focused on your goal. Yes, things happen. And yes, like, maybe your car breaks down, you don't have the money for it. But that's what like the mentor. That's why they have a mentor. You know what I mean? They have someone who can take that energy off of them, take that energy to figure something out off of them, because they've already had the roadmap, and they know, like, this is how you deal with it. Do this. It takes away that energy to have to stress about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Okay. So definitely keep the values and definitely avoid, the girls who gonna take my money and my kids. But okay, so this is the last, very, very last thing, very quick, and then we're gonna wrap it up here. You know what I'm saying? So
for sure.
The three. So give me quick things, three, because I'm taking these things down too for myself. Three things men need to improve in general, their life, finances, or whatever. Like just improve in general.
Biggest three things that I'll use my own personal testimonies. Figure out a way to raise your self-image, self-confidence, and be happy about yourself. For me, started with working out. Rugby was a big part of that. And then after receiving mentorship and getting in business and, being on that entrepreneur path, reading was a big one. Self-help books, Like I always had problems talking to people and like just having that low self confidence, thinking, oh, what are they thinking about right now? Reading books, people skill books, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like because books really do have a lot of knowledge. But the thing is too is like if the way I see it as well is like if you're gonna read books, like don't just read like if you're gonna read books, try to get smarter. Don't just read fiction books. Read books that are like self-help books. And just because you can read a million books and still not be anywhere in life, you have to actually apply those things. But really, what the books did for me mostly was like help me build up that confidence, and then help me get out of my comfort zone more. Whether if it's I talk to a random person at the gym to network to them or anything like that.
Okay,
Second biggest thing, I find that a lot of guys get held back in life being in a relationship or like having their main goal. They're like they have tunnel vision on DMing a bunch of girls, trying to test them out, see who's the best looking, this and that. It's like, bro, it holds you back, and it's so energy draining. And I'll be transparent with you. I used to be one of those guys. I used to be one of those guys.
I canceled these 10 DMs I sent out this morning. I'm playing.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like it takes away so much energy, and it's like, bro, if a girl says no to you, it's like you feel like, oh, like it's like it brings down your confidence. So it's like, yo, focus on yourself before you start focusing on other people, whether if it's like a friend or even a girl. But yeah, that would probably be the second biggest thing. Third biggest thing, I would say this is probably really important because we're all going through a pandemic. Biggest thing is I would say get off your ass and stop using this as an excuse. Stop using this pandemic as if your life's on pause. Yes, the world's on pause. Yes, you can't do certain things, but don't let it control you. Don't let it control you. Go, like, people are using excuses like, oh, I can't get a job because of the pandemic, bro. I went through like 3 jobs this year already. Like do something, man. Go to the gym, go to the park, work out at the park. I built my own home gym. Like, do something. Don't stop using this as an excuse. Because while I'm working hard for the past 2 years of this pandemic, you're in the same place when it started. And look where you could be now. And that was probably my biggest lesson as well. Because, like, even when I was working out and stuff, I had a period where I really slowed down. And I saw my gym partner get a lot bigger than me. You know what I mean? And I was like, damn, I could be there right now. It's like, and that's when I was like, oh, I got to stop wasting time. And I got back into it. But, yeah, definitely some testimonies in there as well. But, like, 3 biggest things. Probably the biggest one being the last one.
So
stop using the pandemic as an excuse.
So self-improving, number 1. So getting those self-help books, improving your confidence. And then number 2, stop chasing these goddamn women. God damn, you know what I'm saying? Even though we want some ass. We want that ass. But anyways, and then number 3, no excuses. No more excuses. Not letting the pandemic or anything ruin what you got going on, and get off your asses and no excuses. Damn, you know what I'm saying? That's me today. Like, even right after this, I'm about to go to the gym, and I was like, man, I'm tired, but I gotta go. No excuses. Okay, I'm literally gonna use that advice right now. But okay, Elijah, appreciate you for coming on to the podcast. You know what I'm saying? We'll have you on. I'm planning to bring everyone I bring on roughly around a year later to see where you're at, to see the growth of every single person I bring on. But, I appreciate you for coming on, bro. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep talking, and definitely I'm going to link your business, your websites, and also Jordan and the guy from Uganda down below. Just send me the links, and I'm going to put them in there in the description as well, so people can go check them out. And yeah, bro, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, bro, appreciate you having me, and yeah, it was great. I'll see you guys in a year. It's gonna be pretty sick to see where I'm at in a year. Okay, that's gonna be sick.
1 year time skip. All right. Thanks for coming on, bro. All right, we all do.